Hey everyone, and welcome to my MMA Fighter introduction. So what I'll be doing is I'll showcasing the app as well as giving an introduction for it. So I'll start off with the introduction and then show the app. I'll put a time somewhere on the screen where if you want to skip through anything, actually rather than that, there's chapters. I'll make chapters on the video so you can just skip through wherever you want. The first thing I'll be doing is just going through the actual introduction where I'll explain all about the game and then I can go through it. Now, I do want to quickly explain the monetization model before you skip. The reason why is because there's so many different monetization models these days, mostly ads and microtransactions, that it gets bogged down. So with this, I want it to be for iPhone and Android. I don't want any ads. I say don't want it. I'm not building it with any. I'm not building any ads, any microtransactions, or any subscriptions. It's going to be a single purchase, which you'll be able to play a demo of before you buy the game, so you can actually try the game as if you like it. It'll most likely be $5 just because I'm a solo dev, and it's honestly, hopefully, if I can make this sort of a financial success or even remotely to that, I can work on building more content and maybe even a second game. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. Basically, no ads, no microtransactions, no subscriptions, one single purchase, which will be completely playable in airplane mode, which I am going to be playing it. As you can see on my screen, I actually have a phone plugged in, an Android testing device, which if you can see right now, it says airplane mode, there's no data connected. So the game is fully playable offline, which I can't for some reason edit right now, but I will. It's completely playable offline, and I want to keep that. So hopefully that's the goal. You won't need anything, any internet connection. So let's just jump in. So the first thing I want to go through is the inspiration behind the game. So the game has a few different inspiration pieces. The first one is Bitlife. So I really love the fact of Bitlife that you control your character from birth all the way till death. You control all of the things about them. Although it's not that deep, it still gets a lot deeper than I'd say 99% of games. So you control your character, and I love that. I love the aspect of management, micromanagement and stuff. Well, I don't like being micromanaged, but I like micromanaging games. Another inspiration is not my MMA, it's just MMA Fighter. If you've ever played MMA Manager, then you'd know how good it is. It's a great game. It's so underrated. It's just a brilliant game where you manage your MMA fighters and you help them get through rankings and you recruit new fighters. It's really great. I'd give it a go. I actually bought the game and I very, very, very much recommend it. The next game that is part of the inspiration is Football Manager. So you might be wondering, that's weird. Football, fighting, not very related, but I can assure you it is. The deep mechanics of Football Manager is what I love. I love the fact that you could spend hours on the game. And it's very hard to explain to someone who hasn't played the game just how deep it is and how attached you get to your team and players. But that's what I want to do with this. I want the game to be very deep. I want you to love your fighter, and your fighter will be, you'll raise them from nothing all the way to post-retirement. So now that we've got the inspiration out of the way, I am trying to rush through this video because I did record this video before and it ended up being over 15 minutes. And I don't want to do that again. So probably will be, but now let's talk about the game mechanics. The game is only about 25% complete. I have done a lot of the background stuff like saving, loading, a lot of the stuff that you don't see but take a long time to work on. So now that I've got that done, I'm working more on content, and the game shouldn't be too long. Hopefully within the next 6 months I'll be able to release it, maybe sooner. If I get a lot of views, I won't need to market as much, so hopefully that will lessen the timeline. Okay, sorry if you can hear my chair squeaking, by the way. Now, let's go through the mechanics. Not all of it's here. As I said, the game is not done. It's not even close to being done in terms of content, but this is what I'll show today. There's a lot more content I can show off, but I just want to set an expectation. I'm not showing off everything. This is just a small, very, very small portion of the game. It gets a lot deeper than this. So when you start the game off, you start off with your customization. So I want the game to have a lot of customization. This is the starting flow, where you can choose the information, you can choose the look, and your stats, your starting stats. I want the game to have a lot of customization, and I want you to feel like you can customize your character as much as you want to. This will obviously be much more implemented at a later stage, but this is the basic implementation I have for now, where you can create your fighter, your weight class, your fighting style, you can choose your look, your hair, your skin color, your stats. This is all just a little bit of a start until I work much more on that. Eventually I'll be making videos for every mechanic, a specific video where I'll dive deep on every single one, and I'm going to be implementing much more. I just need people's input. This is at a stage now where I can show the game off and get people's input to improve it, and that's what I intend to do. So when you create a character, you then go to your stats, which I just showed you. So you have a bunch of different stats. These are your visible ones so far, and you also have invisible ones, the ones you can't see, hidden stats as I call them, like longevity, and also different body part health, where you could get injuries from that. And there's a lot of stuff like that. So longevity affects your peak. It affects how fast you enter your peak, how slow it takes you, how long you stay at your peak for. If you constantly hard spar, you're going to enter your peak probably a little bit faster, or if you fight a lot, because your experience and your physical peak. But that does come at a cost. Your longevity is not going to last forever if you are a hard sparrer. You can see from real life that when people fight very hard, they're great when they fight, but then they end up like, look at most fighters. A lot of fighters used to hard spar and their careers were very short compared to these days. Different skills have and stats, have different impacts, which you can see here. But so when you start the game, you choose your character and choose your stats. You then go into the story. So the story right now is just that you start off with nothing and you want to be a fighter. So you join the gym and you get experience, you fight, you go through the ranks, and then you can hopefully become a UCF champ. Not UFC, UCF. There's achievements, there's progression, there's phases from amateur to professional champion. There's retirement, there's a lot there. It's very deep. There's also story events. Okay. And then when this site is called Milanote, by the way. I'll have a referral link in the description in case someone uses it. So, there's also training camps. When you agree to a fight, you go into a training camp where you can do mini games, training, sparring, rest. As you progress, you can get more options in your training camps. That means studying film, that means studying opponents, better recovery, better training methods. All of the training will have mini games to help you stay engaged. There's also starting gyms. So when you join the game, you have to choose a starting gym. Now there's a lot of starting gyms. I actually think that I don't know how to use Milanote. Okay. So I'll just show you. So these are some of the gyms that you can start with and you choose from. It's tiered, so there's a lot of different gyms in the game. There's going to be a much bigger list of gyms. These are just the ones you start off with. But as you get better and better, you get better gym options, especially when you get more money. And yeah, that's the game. You get different coaches. I'll go into the game where I'll explain more, but that's just the basic mechanics. Just wanted to explain that. Like I said, this is only maybe 10% of the game, if that. Even the game's about 25% complete. This is maybe even 10% of the actual content in the game. So let's just try the game out. So just make sure that it can see the game. I'll just move. That'll do this. I'm using OBS, which I never use. Okay. So let's just make this Focus. Okay, cool. So now we have the game open. I am using what's called Gen Immersion to basically use my Android A14, which is quite an old Android. It's not old, it's only a year or two old, but it's a very low-tier, mid-tier device on purpose, so that way we know what I know what the performance will be versus a new device or even like an older device, and it works great. It's very snappy, it works very fast, there's no lag. There might be on this because I am recording, but yeah. Okay. So when you open a game, this is the starting screen. You have the little latest updates, where this is just the kind of humor I'm going for. This is obviously, there's no updates to the game yet because I'm still working on it. And you have a continue career, new career and settings. So when you start the game, you'll have 3 slots, so you can have multiple characters. And let's start a new career. So when you start, it just preloads the assets, so it's much faster, which per second, and you create your character name. So let's create a character. Let's say Jesse, nickname Moneybags. Weight classes. So I didn't actually talk about this, but weight classes will become very important, which I'll talk about in another video. But you're going to have to be able to manage your weight, and you can obviously become double champ, etc. So let's just choose welterweight for some reason. Fighting style actually really does impact your start. So when you start with style bonuses, so you start with stats, and every single fighting style has a different starting stats. Nationality is important because I feel with combat sports, nationality is very pride of the country you're from is very important. If you ever watch the UFC, you know that they take very, very seriously where they're from. And so that's what I have here. I have every country in the world, as far as I know. Tell me if yours isn't there, but it should be. Let's just choose Japan for now. And then you can obviously enter your city. Sorry, my phone's going off. You can enter your city and your age. City doesn't really have any impact, but age does. So I'm not going to talk about age today, but I will say that age is very important. I'll bring in a new video specifically for that because there's a lot of factors of age. It chooses when you start your peak, exits your peak, retirement. A lot of people aren't going to want a 50-year-old fighter unless you're very good. There's a lot of things like that. So your recovery, it affects everything. So now that we're in customization, you can obviously choose the different. Let me actually use not my mask. So when you're in your customization, you have different faces to choose from. I'll probably rework this all to make it look nicer. You have different skin tone presets. Let's just choose one, and you can obviously be custom. Now there's different hairstyles. Let's just choose this. And there's different stats, as I said, which you get to choose from. So you can press the I for more information. The UI needs to be cleaned up a little, I get it, and I will do it. So let's just create a fighter. So now you get to this little cutscene. Where's my phone going off so much? Now you get to this cutscene, and you get to choose. You get to watch this little thing. I'll skip, and then you get to choose your gym. All of the gyms at the start are free, but I may actually put a monthly fee so it keeps you actually working and making sure you're doing fights and quests for money. There are going to be like a board where you can have weekly activities and weekly challenges to try to, I don't know, that's something I'm going to work on. So I'll talk about that in another video. Let's just choose strip mall karate. Okay, when you start, this is your dashboard. So this is where you live pretty much. This is where you are most of the time. As you can see, you have your stats up the top and you have your 3 boxes here. Debug menu is just for me when I'm working on the game. Let me just put my phone here because it's annoying. Okay. So from here, you can press your name. You can see your stats, and you can also see your fame system. Your fame system will increase with your performance. So if you get a lot of first round knockouts, or submissions, you're gonna get famous quite fast. What else is there? There's your record. I'm not gonna go through finances today, but with training, you can open your training menu, be introduced to your coach. You can click your coach picture. There's a lot of different stuff. So you can recover, you can do training, you can sleep. As you can see, there's a day manager, energy manager. And yeah, that's kind of the game. I'll just quickly show what happens when you get a fight offer. This is the current. This is just for testing. I'll just show you. So when you get a fight offer, you get fight opportunity, you go into a training camp. This training camp is where you can get skills very fast, but you can also get injured, so you have to be very careful. You don't want to enter a fight with very low conditioning. Got to make sure you rest properly, but you have to ensure you're fit as well. So there's a lot of different aspects in the game. This is shadowboxing training, where every game will have its own mini game. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now because I'm playing the game, but I just want to show you what happens when you complete in the game. So you get stats, you get a little score that you can try to beat, high score, stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of the game so far. Just wanted to introduce it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else I can talk about in this video because I want it to be short, but that's my MMA fighter. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be making more videos on specific systems as well as devlogs. Make sure you subscribe to keep up with it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I am also battling a bit of allergy, cold thing, so you can probably hear it in my nose. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.